welcome to Riverside Beads. My name's Donna and I'm the owner of Riverside Beads, and today Heidi is going to be making these beautiful bookmarks for you out of resin. So I will hand you over to Heidi and she will explain everything you need to know.
Hi everybody, so it's another resin class and it's a bookmark today. So working with moulds. I think we've done a mould in the past, but it was a little bit smaller. So today we're going to be working with this lovely bookmark mould, and it has a little hole at the top here, a little dimple, and that creates a little hole that means you can put in, so I'll just slide this one in here. You can see you can add on a tassel if you want, or you can add some ribbon, whatever you want. You can put a jump ring on there and put some charms dangling from it, so it's got that little hole there. So we work with a silicone mould. This is actually a silicone mat that I'm using just so it doesn't stick to it. And the mould is silicone. And before I start, there are two ways to make sure it's nice and clean. So I can give it a wash in warm soapy water and then let it air dry. And then if there are any little sticky bits in there, any little dots of dust or things like that, I can use some masking tape just balled up and use it to dab in to make sure I'm not getting any dust or cat hairs or anything like that stuck in my piece. So a bit of masking tape works, or even a bit of sellotape if you haven't got masking tape at home. So one of the things I always make sure when I'm doing resin is to make sure that the surface I'm working on is nice and flat and even, so there's no sort of bumps and lumps underneath the mould or the piece that you're laying it onto. I'm actually using a piece of cardboard, some scrap cardboard, and that's what I've got mine laid onto, so it's nice and flat. Before I do my resin, I'm going to make sure that I've actually got a space put to one side that I'm going to put my resin for it to cure. So whilst it's setting, which can sometimes take up to 72 hours, so you want to make sure you've got a little flat, safe space that's not got a lot of dust around it and, you know, doesn't have any animals being able to get to it or anything like that, so it doesn't spoil it. Okay, so we need to start. So in the kit you'll get resin. That we're gonna be making this bookmark resin kit. So in the kit you will get resin. So this is the resin that we're gonna have with the kit. Okay, and it's Pebeo, it's the geode resin, and it's absolutely beautiful. Okay, so you do get your resin. You also get, so in the kit, a selection of stones. So you'll either get this beautiful teal or a brown or a multicoloured stone, which is beautiful. It's not focusing very well on there, but it's probably because, yeah, it's shiny, isn't it? Okay, that's beautiful. You can see all those colours, stunning. Okay, so it will be a version of one of those that you get. It could be any or either. Okay, so stunning, stunning. And they look beautiful in the resin. So follow the instructions within your kit for your resin, and you need to put it, I would use like a little paper cup. I think you actually get a container to put it in to mix your resin. So make sure you follow your instructions. Excuse me. Follow your instructions as to mixing your resin. And then once you're ready, I would use a teaspoon, or you might use a bead scoop, something like that. I've got a little plastic teaspoon I'm going to use, and I'm going to put some of my stones into my piece. I've also got a couple of little charms that we sell. One's a little heart and one's a little star, and I've actually just used my my cutting pliers to cut off the little loop that would have been on the top to make it hang from things. And I'm going to put a little heart in and a little star in. Now what you must remember is the top of this resin piece is going to be the back. So if you have anything with words on or a picture on, the front of it needs to go facing downwards, and this is actually the back, the top part. Okay, so I'm going to pick up some stones. So I've got them in a little bag here with my spoon, and I've also got some cocktail sticks handy because they are really, really nice to use to get straight lines with these stones. So I'm going to do some stripes, I think. And you can do literally whatever you want. They look stunning, just scattered all over. You can do them in little circles. Oops, daisy. Let's move that star down. So it's tricky because the little stones do sort of stick a bit to the silicone, but that's not a bad thing because then it doesn't move a lot when you're actually adding your resin. So let's make them straighter. So if you use a little cocktail stick, you can kind of use the edge to straighten up your resin and pull it together. Okay, these stones are lush. We have some beautiful pieces at the shop for our resin now, and some stunning, stunning, stunning moulds. Oops-a-daisy. Just don't sneeze when you're doing it. My classes at the shop, they love these stones. I think I've topped them up 3 or 4 times now. So if you're out of stock, it's because of me. They do love these stones.
We have loaded them. They're all online individually as well as individual bags if anyone just needs some top-ups of bits.
Sure. Okay, so we've got some lines. Now, what I found works the best is when we're pouring resin, we're not actually pouring it. We're going to drip it. So it comes off of we've got a stirring stick, which is just a large lolly stick. We actually drip it very slowly from the edge of our lolly stick like so. And what I found works best with these stones is to actually drop it anywhere that there isn't stones and fill that area first, and then you can lay resin over the top of your stones, and it tends to help keep them in the position where they are. It stops them floating about as much. And once you have filled your piece, you do want to sort of leave it to sit for a few minutes and then go back to it and have a look again, because you will find that stones do move about a little bit, even though they're reasonably weighted. They do move a little bit, so you do want to come back to them, make sure that they haven't moved too much, or that you want to move them around yourself. And then also check for air bubbles, because as the resin gets underneath the stones, see, I've just touched it there and that's dragged it out. I shall use my cocktail stick in a minute. As the resin gets underneath the stones, it will pick up little air bubbles as it's filling all the little gaps in. So you do need to go back and have a little check. Make sure you haven't got any big air bubbles, because the big air bubbles are the ones that are nuisance. They're the ones that create little craters when it sets. The little tiny ones tend to disperse themselves. They're part of the process of the chemical reaction. So we're nearly done. So you can take this really, really slowly. Obviously, I've been doing it for a while now, so I do get a bit quicker. But it's nice to take it slowly because we have more control over it. And if something does start to go wrong, you know, you can stop very quickly and do what's necessary to try and rectify it. The one thing I will say is, I know one of the things that all my ladies get worried about when they're doing resin is overfilling the mould. And if that happens, what tends to go wrong is that we get spillage over the sides of the mould, and my ladies tend to get a bit panicked about it. Now, don't worry. If you're working on top of a silicone mat, the silicone mat will release any resin. So you're not going to end up with your mould stuck to your mat. You're not going to end up with your resin stuck inside your mould. So don't worry about that. If it spills over the edges, it's not the end of the world. You can clear it up once it's all set. I wouldn't start getting, wipes out or anything like that whilst it's still wet. I would just leave it, unless it's going to spill over the edge onto your table or something, then I wouldn't worry about it. If it's just onto your silicone mat, like I've got a couple of drops on my silicone mat there, I'm not going to touch them. Once it's dry, you can just knock them off. Okay, and then you can wash with warm soapy water, and that will get rid of any mess. And I've got an extra thick one here. If Donna was doing this, she'd have taken some out. I know she would. I can feel her itching to
it
take.
Looks fabulous. My favourite colour.
I know.
Team Riverside colour.
I love this colour.
Yeah, it's amazing. It only came in today.
That's okay, because this is your Christmas present.
Excellent work.
Being a cheapskate. Okay, so that's done. Now, as I said before, you need to have that space ready for this, so it's nice and flat, level. It's not going to get moved. Nobody's going to knock it. No cats are going to go and jump on it or anything. So you can put that to one side. In about 5 or 10 minutes, go back to it, just have a look at it and see if there's any air bubbles. Now, one of the things I do is if I get an air bubble in the middle, use a little cocktail stick and just drag it to the side, to the edge. As it gets to the edge, sometimes they just burst on their own. If not, lift it over the edge and out, and then you've got rid of it. Okay, so that's how we would work with that. So I'm just going to move that one out of the way, and I'm going to bring in this one. Now, I think you can see it really well there, actually. This one is one I did, I think it was yesterday or the day before. So again, I used that little star on it, and I used a heart that I had from our charms. That's got some words on it, and I've got some little pearly, I don't know,
flowers or
flowery things that they're from the shop, definitely. So, but what happened was, I purposefully overspilled. It's not like me to do that, but I purposefully overspilled my mould, and you can see I've got this rougher edge round the side, and I've got this rough edge round here. It's easy to get rid of. So I've got my little naughty sewing scissors, and I'm just going to cut round the sides. And if you've got cutting pliers, so your beading cutting pliers, you can use those as well. Okay, or a craft knife. So it's not very straight with my scissors because I'm not getting very close to the side, so probably a craft knife would be even better. But as I say, you use what you've got at home. Oops, sorry guys, I forget where I am on the mat. Okay, so this side here has got still like a little rough edge, and what you can do with this, I did forget to bring one with me, but an emery board that you would do your nails with. If you put a little drop of water on it, and you can run that along the edge and just smooth off your edges. The water helps with it, but it also stops any powdered resin, you know, getting in the air. And the same with this side as well. You can just smooth it down, and then nice. I'm going to ruin your emery board, sweetheart.
Just show it roughly.
Just like that. Oh my goodness me, we have a Demonte one. Okay, so just like so, we would just do the sides. Okay, use a cheap one. Use a cheap one, not a posh sparkly one. And don't use those glass ones because you might ruin it. But yes, just a bit of an emery board, give it a little rub down the sides with just a little bit of water on it, and it just stops the powder getting everywhere. And that tidies all your sides up. And then you've got your little hole at the top here, and you can pop through ribbon, you can put on a jump ring with some charms on, or you can put in a lovely tassel like our blue one. Look, this blue one would have looked gorgeous on there.
Yeah, that would be really nice.
That's stunning, isn't it? And I haven't got any teal tassels.
Oh, we're going to have to make one.
I will have to make one.
Yes. You've made some nice tassels.
So, I mean, you could make, look, if you've got sisters, you could do different coloured ones for each one in the same stone. Beautiful. Isn't that beautiful? So, you can make whatever you want in them. I actually, you will laugh, guys, because a while ago, I made some alphabet letters, and I was going to do them as key rings for the girls at work, and Donna's mummy drinks decaf coffee, so I got not decaf coffee, but coffee beans, and I put coffee beans in her letter.
Oh, that's so
and it looks fab. It looks really cool.
Oh.
So you can think of anything.
Yes,
You
anything
don't have to
sets in
use
it,
your
really.
stones. You can use your stones and other things that you find around the kitchen and
We've
the
lots of
house.
memorabilia, don't we, put in things? So that's where it
Oh,
can make
absolutely.
it really personal.
Photographs, and you can put a little bit of lace from your wedding dress, and there's so
All
many
sorts of
things.
Yeah.
So,
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Heidi. So next week we are continuing our resin, and we're going to show some poppers. So if you haven't come across poppers before,
yes, join us for poppers.
yeah, they're really cute. That's worked really well, hasn't it? The
Yes.
popper one. We're
Yes,
very
it was
pleased
fun
with
to
this.
do. Yeah.
Yeah, we've made some really nice pieces. So do check out the resin kit at Riverside Beads. We've got it available from Monday, hopefully, in store, and any orders online are pre-orders, and we'll get them sent for you. We've obviously got all the moulds and the sprinkles and all the lovely bits as well to make your resin. And we'll see you all next week at 6 o'clock. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, did we have any questions on Facebook? We're still
Questions,
live.
ladies and
Let's have
gentlemen.
a look.
I seen someone said, do we still use bookmarks? I have to say, don't just use them for bookmarks, guys. These are brilliant. If you get if you do crafting and you have peel-offs, you can use your peel-offs on them once they're set. Put your kids' names on them and put them on their rucksacks or their lunch boxes. So you can make them to personalise different things like that.
But the principle of what you've shown is resin in moulds anyway, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's just a few extra tips for bookmarks.
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, I have to say, we do bookmarks as a class, and one of my ladies did point out, I don't think it's still bendy enough, but if you, whilst it's still bendy, if you do this, it's actually a cuff as well, and you can have a little charm hanging from the side.
Cute. Yeah.
So when it's see there, yeah. So when it's obviously I've let it go a little bit longer, but when it's at the point where it's still bendy, if you bend it over your wrist to get the right shape and size, it would make a bangle.
Very good.
So
wonderful. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. There hasn't really been any massive questions. Thank you, Sharon. Glad you enjoyed it. And hi, Anna joined us late there. Or Anne, sorry. Wonderful.
Oh,
I think that's everything.
I'm glad you enjoyed it, ladies.
It'll be on YouTube as well, so we will show you it then. I can't get our faces back in. I was going to come back in to say bye to you, but I can't.
Oh, you don't want to see our faces. Or at least you don't want to see my face.
Oh, look, there we are.
Oh, dear, look.
Are you ready? We're coming in.
Hello, bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everybody. We'll see you all next week.
Take care.
Bye now.